Welcome back, Guardian. So recently I did a poll on the community tab. I asked what Guardian you wanted me to build for next, and you all chose the Warlock. Majority of you did anyways, but that's what this is going to be about. It's going to be built around a specific modifier, which is Brawler. Melees deal more damage and they charge faster. It's usually coupled with a stupid modifier such as Grounded or Blackout. The Singe does not matter, however, if you have it on Solar Singe, it's going to hit even harder. Either mid-tree or bottom-tree Solar Warlock is what I'm building out for. I usually don't do a mod-specific build, but I wanted to be a little bit different because the exotic that I'm using really is only powerful whenever Brawler is turned on. Otherwise, it's not that great of an exotic. So it's going to be paired with Igniting Touch or the Well, and it really helps out in well situations. You get charged by any enemies and stuff like that. It really just makes a lot of sense in there to burn out all them enemies and get them off your back. Let's talk about the stats. You can see that it's built around sunbracers. I'll go into more of that later. So there's two stat options. You can do 908, which is what I have here, or you can go 809 if you have a different stat set on your helmet. Mine got messed up if you watch that glitch video that I made. It actually isn't a glitch. It's part of the game where you can change armor stats on some pieces of armor, and it happened to be and I accidentally clicked it. So the helmet is 1 mobility, 2 recovery, and impact mod. I would rather have light reactor here, but enhanced heavy lifting is also good as well, or you can also use ashes to assets. Either way, it's really good. I always talked about ashes to assets being a more specific build option to use for a supercharged perk, and it works well in this situation as well. But if you're not going to use that, use light reactor. Now let's talk about the sunbracers. So 2 mobility, 1 recovery, another impact mod, and mine have impact induction. I think the collection tab also has that as well. But what it does is it gives you 8-second grenades, and then if you have a charged melee kill on an enemy, you get a small cooldown to start throwing a ton of grenades, and then once you throw your first grenade, you have enough time to throw 5 grenades before it ends, and then you can go melee somebody else and do the same thing all over again. With that being said, you don't want to have a risk of your melee getting wasted on anybody, because if you're doing heroic, menagerie, or even regular, sometimes it's hard to do 1 melee kill. Even with a charge one, it won't kill them sometimes. That's why I recommend having Brawler on when you use this build, because it works wonders with those paired together. Moving on to the chest piece, it needs to be 2 mobility and 3 recovery with that recovery mod, and then build it for whatever weapons you're going to be using, whether it's add clear or boss melt weapons. Now for the legs, I've only been able to find this version on the prime legs, so reckoning armor. It's 4 mobility, 2 recovery with that recovery mod. That's traction on it. Traction adds 1 perk that you can see on the leg piece, and then it also adds a hidden one on top of the mobility number below your light level. I'm not 100% sure if that's only for PlayStation users, because I've seen some Xbox and some PC players say they don't get that extra hidden mobility perk. How you can test it though is go to a spot in the tower where you can see where your head is jumping up and down, and then put on like 7 mobility without traction, and then try 6 mobility with traction to see if it jumps the same height. If it does, you'll know that it's giving you that hitting perk. Use that for your advantage on Titans, especially that have a lower mobility stat number usually. You can use it in a lot of various situations where it comes in handy to get your mobility right. And for the final piece, it's going to be your bond. It needs to be another impact mod. Recuperation is always touch that orb, get your health immediately back without having to wait on the recharge of it. And then whatever weapon you're going to be building out for, use the reserves that are going to match. So if you want to use boss melt like grenade launcher reserves, whatever, it's always completely up to you. If you're new to my channel and aren't familiar with the stats in PvE, like why I have 0 resilience, watch the Power of Rusto builds video. It's where I talk about super helmets, the charge perks on them, resilience versus recovery, a lot of different things like that. As far as the super for Dawn Blade, there's a lot of red bar ads in the Menagerie and in Nightfalls in general. It's a really good super to last a long time to help clear ads while everybody else is doing objectives. But as far as the Brawler and the Sunbracers, as you can see right here, that's why I recommend the Brawler being on, so you don't have a chance of wasting that melee. It's guaranteed to kill any red bar in here, and you can start burning shit away, especially when you have some situation like that where you're trying to revive somebody but there's ads walking out the door. That 8-second grenades comes in handy, but I always notice whenever Brawler's not on, I'll hit a red bar ad and it won't kill him, but it'll take the melee charge, and then I gotta wait all over again just to try to get that perk to proc. the survival rate with these on is just completely ridiculous. And I know some people are probably going to be asking, why would I do any melee mods whenever Brawler's on? And that's what we're going to talk about right now. So here's the build without any melee mods on at all. No impact mods. I'm going to do the melee and then watch the charge rate without any impact mods with Brawler on. It's going to be a 16-second charge. So I had to tune this right so where every time I threw that 5th grenade out, that Brawler was going to be back almost instantaneously. So as you can see here, I'm just now getting it back. 16 seconds, even with Brawler on, takes quite a while. So let me swap the gear back. We'll do the melee, and now we throw all the grenades. I'm just doing a test here, so I'm just throwing the grenades wherever. But you see when I throw that final grenade, my Brawler is back within a second. So I can keep going to add, to add, to add, and just keep melting the whole room down. Because like I said, there's red bars everywhere. Doesn't matter if you're playing a Nightfall or the Menagerie or even Heroic Menagerie. With Brawler on, being on the Heroic, you can still one-hit melee adds in there. And that's where it comes in handy. You are going to be the ad control guy when you wear this build. And like I said, if you wanted to pair it with Well of Radiance, you can get anybody out of your well immediately, especially if Blackout's on. Throw an 8-second burning grenade down and start doing work. The reason why I didn't do any grenade charge mods was obviously you get those back immediately, and when you have Brawler on with those 3 melee mods, your melee's back, you know, you get all the grenades you need basically, and then having that high mobility lets you maneuver around. So if something like Grounded is on where you can't jump a lot, you can still walk as almost as fast as you can run pretty much at 9 mobility or even at 8. And if you need some more convincing or some explanation behind the stats that I choose to use on my builds, I highly recommend, again, checking out the Power Rusto Builds video. It explains a lot, and it will turn any Resilience player that plays PvE into a high recovery, high recharge rate Rusto build player, basically. But I was kind of shocked nobody guessed that it was going to be Sunbracers. I expected Winter's Guile and Claws of Hamakara, but when Brawler's on, Sunbracers are turned into a freaking monster. I might start doing some more modifier type building since there are active modifiers all the time in the game, and sometimes some builds can work better than other builds depending on what the exotic is mixed with whatever the modifier is. So a lot of different, you know, loadouts can happen in that situation. So I might just not, you know, discriminate on modifiers as much as I used to and start actually using them to my advantage, because it completely turns Sunbracers into a usable exotic, where if Brawler didn't exist, I'd never even look at these at all. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. They think that there's like a dead exotic because, you know, who cares? You know what I mean? But put Brawler on, put Sunbracers on, and you're going to be good to go, man. Catch me on live stream sometime if you want to see me get some tips that way as well. Also hit me up, shop and support, teespring.com/Ristophilis or paypal.me/Ristophilis. You want to show some extra support. I appreciate you, Guardians. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for staying supportive. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and I'll see you all next time.
In space.